Hey everybody, I'm Mike, and I got a video today about sleep and having trouble getting to sleep. And I'm going to try to do a little walk and talk. A friend said that the background, I needed to try to do something more on the background to make them more interesting. So let's try this. Um, anyway, this is where I live, and I'll show you guys around a little bit. Um, So I've had a lot of trouble sleeping in the past. I have pretty bad restless legs, and it's like a clinical thing. But I've just had other, difficulty sleeping. And so these are the ways that I have kind of solved the problem most of the time. I mean, it's not perfect, but it has helped me incredibly. And they say that sleep is the number one thing we can do for longevity. So everybody's doing all these hacks, taking all these different things. And I'm not opposed to anything. Vitamins, supplements, peptides. A lot of people do steroids and testosterone and, you know, hardcore exercise and all these things we do to try to optimize our body. And the most important thing out of all these things you can do is free, and it's sleep, and get a really good night's sleep. It restores the hormone system, it improves brain function, and it gives you the most tissue and muscle repair. So the things that I'll tell you about, I think the way that I've gotten to relax and fall asleep easiest are two things. One that's really easy with a little, you got to incorporate a little bit of something into your program. And most people, and this is what I used to do, watch TV, and that's not everybody, or we do something mental, especially TV these days, or phone, some type of media, and we are doing that right up until the time we go to bed. And it used to be like I would want to just watch one more episode of a show, or look at one more thing on the phone, and just that process would go on and on until like I knew I was going to be suffering the next day. And then the tricky thing is I go to bed late and wake up and am really tired, and then I need copious amounts of caffeine to get my body fired up. And so I get in this cycle where I need caffeine and dopamine to stimulate myself all day, and then I can't go to sleep. So it's this like vicious cycle that keeps me from doing the thing that is absolutely best for my body and makes me feel good. So one thing that, or I think even it's a lot to ask people to cut down on caffeine. People are so addicted to caffeine, and it's so common. And then, but I definitely think we can cut down on the TV and the media at bedtime or close to bedtime, so I actually got rid of media. I was wasting way too much time, and it hurt me in a lot of ways. So I'm trying to work. It's helped me incredibly. So I do not do media now, and so I don't have to worry about it. It causes a huge dopamine spike. It's like a dopamine drip, which is not helpful when you try to go to bed. So getting rid of that dopamine, the media a few hours before bed minimum is really helpful. And then what I think is incredibly helpful is sitting down and doing some type of meditation. Now this can just be sitting. Meditation has such a, not a stigma. Everybody just has a conception of meditation where you have to sit in lotus position with beads and chant some mantra, and that's not it at all. I just like to sit and have quiet time with myself, and this gives me time to process all the feelings and the emotions from the day. If I don't do that, I'm gonna lay my head down on the pillow and I'm gonna be trying to process everything from the day. And so I'll have all these emotions and all these thoughts. I'm trying to process my whole day when on my pillow. And so that can keep me up for 30 minutes to 2 hours right there, especially if I've had a pretty emotional or stressful day. So, oh boy, that I just turned and the sun is behind me and it doesn't look right, but I'll just keep rolling with it. So what I do now is an hour or 30 minutes. I do this, the last thing I do before I go to bed is I sit and I do a very deep breath, like a 10-second breath in. I hold it at the top and then just relax and let it gently out. I have another video here. I think it's called the Apex breath, and you can look at that video. That's basically what I do before bed, and it enables me to get in touch with my feelings. I feel all the feelings from the day, process those feelings, and it also lets the mental I'd say the mental noise unwind, and it also just helps me have intuition about the day. By sitting and being with myself, I just have little answers to all the problems or things I forgot come up to me, and I get in that place. I would say I need 30 minutes. You might be able to get away with 15, but a lot of times I'll do more just because I enjoy it so much now. And that way, that's the last thing I do. When I've processed everything, my mind is settled down, my emotions are settled. When I get in bed, I'm ready to go. I'm completely settled, so my mind is in that sympathetic state from that breathing and from that relaxing, and it makes it just much easier to fall right asleep. The other thing that I found really helpful is before I do all that, or if I need a little extra help, I take magnesium citrate in a powder form, and I just mix that with warm water, a couple scoops of that with warm water, and that's an incredible help too. So the brand name, there's one that's called Calm. I think there's a couple that's called Calm. So it's just magnesium citrate. I find the powder that you mix with water is the best. So those two things, I think right there, are game changers. The other thing you can do that's really helpful, I mean, I've limited my caffeine intake. What I notice is when I quit caffeine, I sleep so much better. Right now, I'm just drinking 1 cup of chai tea in the morning, and that's it. And I don't really notice it. The other thing that is really helpful, which I notice is very good, is trying to eat as early as possible my last meal. Because if I'm digesting while I'm trying to sleep, my system is not settled. And so those are the things, in order of importance for me, is having that time before bed without TV, without scrolling, without pumping dopamine into my system. I relax, I settle, I feel my feelings, I process all the thoughts from the day, and I put my body in the sympathetic nervous system. So that's probably the most helpful thing to me. I think magnesium citrate is incredibly helpful. If I've had sugar close to bed, or if I've had caffeine that day, more caffeine that day, or it was just a little more hectic or stressful day, I'll add the magnesium, then cut down my caffeine intake. Especially, if you're drinking caffeine, you definitely don't want the last caffeine past like 2 o'clock. And then, get your food intake as early as possible. So try those things. I think those things are game changers. Even just the breath work and the sitting or meditation, whatever you want to call it, before bed, I think will change your ability to fall asleep. So I'd love to hear what you think after you try this. Do an experiment and see how you feel. So that's all I got. I hope you guys have a great day. Love you. Bye-bye.